Hello, everybody. Welcome back. Welcome to the plug. Power living under God. I am your host, Felicia Williams, and indeed it's a pleasure to be present with you on this Sunday. We welcome you from all over the world. It still yet amazes me how we can be all the places via streaming. God is amazing. Welcome. Welcome once, welcome twice, welcome three times. Well, if this is your first time, let me just give you a little background knowledge of where you've landed. And if you've landed here, I hope that something is said, something is shared that it can add value to you as an individual, you um, in partnership with somebody else, you as a family or a community. Here on the plug, you can expect to be encouraged, to be inspired by God. Using me as his vessel, you can be encouraged. You will be encouraged by others that we invite to talk about real life experiences through this thing called relationships. Well, lately we've been talking about parenting, and we're still talking about parenting. Why? Because it is close to God's heart. Because we are all God's children, right? So, parenting, that subject is hot. It's a hot topic for the plug, but it's close to God's heart. So, again, welcome. Hello, hello. Come on in the room. Come on in on the stream. I want to take time before we begin and thank Black Men Unfiltered, BMU, and the whole entire family who host the plug. So I just want to say thank you because thank yous go a long way. Don't y'all agree? Yes, it does. So come on in. We want you to chat. Um, Put something in the chat. We want you to be encouraged. We want you to engage. Thank you for the donations that have come near and far. And I know people like to know what's going on with their money because this day and time, it may seem a little funny, but your money, the donations that have been given to the plug have been used to purchase. This past week, purchase books. The plug goes into schools, just partner with campuses because I have a connection. I plugged in with the office managers, plugged in with the school councils, just plugged in the community. And wherever they need a charge, I'm actually open to encourage young people. So we purchased books, especially this month, this past month with Black History Month. Not Black History Month, Black History, to go in and read books about Black and brown people, and also books that are diverse, because the key is to make sure that we are sharing with our young people the importance of you look like me, I look like you, and we all in this together. And then if you don't look like me, that's fine. We can still do this together if we have the right ingredients. Yeah, if we have the right ingredients. So come on in the place. Welcome all. Hello, boss man. Been praying for you. Glad to see you in the chat. I was gonna say in the house. Yes, in the house chat. Glad to see you. God is good. So without any further ado, we're going to get started. Parenting with purpose. That's today's topic. Parenting with purpose. I'm excited about this topic. It has been on my heart, and I hope you all will be engaged and share and just be authentic. Be real. We real here on the plug. Have heart to heart, but we talk about challenging things because we want to grow. We want that spark in our life. You know, we want that charge in our life so that we can be owned for the good. We know how to be owned for those things that are negative. We know how to be owned for the things that don't mean us no good. But let's get turned on, empowered by God to do the right thing so that then you and I can empower children, young people, and teens. Hello, Mr. Brian. Welcome. Now, parenting with purpose. Embracing adult responsibility. We're going to break this down. Let's be clear. We're going to break this down. So we're going to start with that first word, um, parenting. What is a parent? We say a lot of things, but do we even know what the meaning is? So I looked the word up like you can do. It just says a caregiver responsible for the upbringing, the care, and the guidance of a child. Parents play a crucial role in a child's physical, emotional, and social development. Parents provide support, nurture, and discipline. I don't know about you, but as I look over the community and look in our community, we're missing some of these ingredients. We're going to talk about it today. Parenting, a parent is supposed to provide. Today, the pastor said, God will guide and provide. If God is your parent, like God is my parent, yes, I had some biological parents, but what I'm saying is this, just like God guides and provides, a parent is to guide and provide. We taking the word parenting lightly. Now, parenting with purpose. The word with is a preposition. It usually connects a word with another word or a phrase to make up a sentence. So the word with, parenting with, it's a connector. It connects. So parents are connected with purpose as it relates to children. Now, let's be clear. Let's break it on down to what's the word purpose mean. Often we looking for purpose. I don't know my purpose. What is my purpose? Well, what's the word mean in itself? Purpose means a reason for which something is created. So parents, a caregiver, guide, direct, support, nurture, discipline is connected to why children were created. That's the simplicity of it. If you're a parent, you are responsible for being connected to your children and why they were created. And if you have joined in and you're on, please share, like, subscribe. Please do it for the community. Show somebody, share it with somebody if it add value. If somebody come up in your mind that you think about that can use this information, by all means, share it. That's how we grow. So we just talking about the title right now. We're going to slow it down. Parenting with a purpose. You got to know who you are. Not just because that's my son, that's my daughter, these my kids, these who I put on my tax returns. It's bigger than that. And you're connected to your children's purpose. We're going to see later on why this is important. Embracing responsibility. So what does embracing mean? Embracing is to accept. A lot of parents are parents, but have not accepted the responsibility to be a parent. To embrace means I accept my role. I support. Look at these two words: willingly and enthusiastically. I'm willing to accept my role as a parent. Now, what it looks like when you're not willing, you are always complaining about the purpose being the children. If you're not willing, it may look something like the children are mandated in all states to go to school. You may, out of convenience for yourself, not take them. They get absences. People on the campus may be saying little sarcastic things to your child about them not being there. And truth be told, it's not their fault, right? Because they can't what? Drive. It's who responsibility? Who's responsible for the children? Parents, I tell you. So we got to embrace. Accept and know that embracing means you support and you do it willingly. That don't mean you don't get tired, but in your heart of heart, you're willing to take on the responsibility called parenting and do it with enthusiasm every now and then at least. I know you get tired, mama, or single dad. I know you get tired, grandmama. But especially the biological, if you are a biological parent and you get tired, that's normal. But every now and then we ought to see some enthusiasm. Your child ought to see that you enthused about being his mama, her mama, or his father, or her father. Embracing responsibility. All right, stay with me. Responsibility refers to the duty of having authority. I'm going to pause for the cause. Now, being a parent is huge. It's a responsibility, but you have authority. You have authority. God has given you the keys. Because anytime you got some keys, you got authority. You have authority to guide, lead your children. It's your responsibility. It says the authority or control over something or someone. We don't like to use that word control, but however, if we really, and like we are going to do on the plug, be real, we're going to be hot with it. It means honest, open, and transparent. Thank you, Brother Datrin, for hot. Yes. So if we take on the responsibility of parenting, we really don't want to look at it as control. However, children don't have a say all the way. There are some things that you as the parent have the authority. Do you know how many times? And I know teachers or educators, administrators, those in the educational school system can attest to this. How many times we face adults, parents, you ask the question, why this, that, or the other about your child, and the answer you give is, that's what they wanted to do. Now, some things may warrant that answer. But if you're asked, why is your child wearing this? And you say, that's what he wanted to wear. Now, if they're 16, I can see that. If it's appropriate, you still have authority. There are boundaries that you as a parent should set. Why? Because you're responsible and you took on the responsibility. You should be willing to guide them. That means they got to have some guardrails and at different stages and ages. But if they 4 and they're 5, and you tell me or you tell her, or you tell him or you tell them because they wanted to, and what they have on is inappropriate, or what they have on looks like why they got it on. Who's responsible? We got to take our authority back if you're giving it up. You got to take your responsibility back if you freely giving it. Let us move on. Hello, welcome, Trey. We don't want to look at parenting as control. Why? Because it doesn't feel good. Well, the word control is like dictatorship, is the reason why I say control. Thank you for your comment, Trey. It don't feel good to kids, but I was referring to the control. You do control them to a certain extent, but we don't want to look like it. We'll see today. Stay with me on this video. Just stay with me. You're going to see what I mean when I interchange that word control, because we use words sometimes and we use them out of context. So I'm saying I get it, because a 4-year-old is told what to do by his or her parent. But now there comes a time you still need to give children, let's say, for instance, a choice of ice cream. Or you're going to say, no, you're going to eat chocolate. No, you're going to be a teacher. We don't want that kind of control. We want to put boundaries and guardrails in, give them the choice within boundary. We'll see that later on. But control is necessary, says boss man. Give me more. Tell me more about control. Let's stay right here. Somebody said, yes, I'm a parent and I'm a dictator. Okay. Tell me more, Trey, about your dictatorship. So your children don't get to have choice over anything? Is that what you're saying? Let's talk about it. Boss man, but control is necessary. I think it's the word, and it is necessary, depending on how it's used. Discipline is good. Okay. Asian families do that to their kids all the time. No surprise, Asians do better in society. There's a whole lot of things Asians do. But we do know Asian environment versus African American, how we were all brought up, not the same. Hispanic culture, all the cultures are different, right? And it does influence our environment and how we were brought up. It does influence how we think about education, how we think about relationships, how we think about money. Yes, I totally agree with you. I do. Bossman says control is necessary, but I understand your point of providing controlled choice in due temperament and guidance. Yes, yes, because I'm gonna go over here. Control. It's not good if a man or a female is controlling another. It's not good for a human being to control another human being. Here's a good example, the best example. God doesn't control me. God don't make me love him. God give me a choice. God don't make me choose him. I can choose whosoever. So that's what I mean by control. If God, the creator, doesn't make us and gives us choice, the whosoever will, then I as a parent, you as a parent, ought to mimic our parenting style as it relates to control after God. He don't control us, but now he certainly has boundaries. This teaches decision making. I agree. Someone said, even children need some level of freedom. Yes, this also allows you to see their thought process. I love it, because let's talk about education, and I can speak to this. And thank you all for chatting, and thank you for engaging, because this is where we grow and we develop, because there's not one way. In education right now, especially African American boys, I can say there's been in education over 30 years. What happens? We stifle their growth because they are not free to be creatives in school. We control them. We don't allow them to think for themselves. I see this even in being a mental health advocate. A lot of times I have a child in my presence, and every time they're asked the question, they do this. They're looking to their parent for the answer, which simply means, and if that's you, that's what that means, that your child doesn't have, they don't have the autonomy to have a voice. They're dependent on you for all the answers. Someone said, oh, let's try. How are we giving choice to children who are incapable of being in control of their own bodies? This is why, as a cop, I was in a single mom's house every night. Kids get no choice. I disagree, Trey. And I know your job. I don't know it, but thank you for sharing, because you are in people's homes because of lack of parenting. Not just the kids don't need choice, because parents are not parenting. Let's keep going. Here's another thought. I think that going to the extreme control over our children will instill fear in them, and that will cause them to be rebels as they get older. Okay, that's a good thought. Let's speak for ourselves. Let's bring it on home. We're talking about parents. If you're on the chat and you are a parent, what did control do for you? So were you controlled as a child? Did that work out for you in a healthy manner? Were you disciplined as a child? Your parents parented you, gave you some boundaries. I'm going to speak for myself. There was no dictatorship. There was some choice, not a lot of it now. There was some choice. I didn't get to choose whether or not I was going to church. I didn't get to choose that. It wasn't a choice. Now, I got to choose what shoes I wore to school, though. It was a choice. I got to choose at a certain age which courses to take if it was in alignment with the choice that I made at school with which route you want to go, you know? As far as, you know, taking your content courses, you know, I'm just giving us some examples, y'all, that there's some things that children need to be able to choose if you're going to parent them well to be able to make decisions. But if your child, and I see this all the time, even teenagers, is every time somebody asks them something, they looking at you. Guess what? That's your answer. That's not your answer. I mean, that's not their answer. I'm sorry. That's your answer. And what happens when you train children in a controlled manner, you'll see this in just a minute in the video because it's all part of today's show. The key is what's going to be the end result. My mama said, if you don't have a W-2, I'm not trying to hear you. I love it. I love it, black man. And again, we can go on. Yes, the times are different. Your mama and you are here and live and well, right? That's funny. My mama said, today, would you agree with this? Today, choice is key. They need choices, but they need boundaries with choices. Okay, we're going to go on. We can go here for a minute. I love it. I love it. Thank y'all for y'all's comments and being engaged. I appreciate that. All right, what type of parent are you? Here we go. Are you the authoritarian, the permissive parent? Oh my goodness, my tongue is tied. I'm not speaking in tongues right now. The authoritative, yes, the authoritative, neglecting, or the over-involved helicopter parent. Which one are you? You're going to see in just a moment this little 7-minute video, because this video, what it is I like it is because it shows you the kind of parent, these 4 types. Now, research is only 4 types, the first 4. The 5th one, they just added an evolved helicopter parent. Well, not only do they show you the characteristics of these type of parents, what they do is show you, if you're this type of parent, how the child may end up. Please pay a close attention. And before you start, shooting the messenger, I want you to look in the mirror and see which one of these children were you and which kind of adult are you today. That helps to level the playing field. And remember, let's be hot. Let's be honest, open, and transparent. Because sometimes we parent from a place, we're trying not to be the parent we're trying not to be our parent. And sometimes we are our parent. And that may not be the best for your children in today or in that circumstance situation. Pay close attention. Okay. See if I can. Let me see if BMU. Hold on.
So is the video on the PowerPoint?
Yes.
Okay, yeah. Go to click it. Is it not coming up?
Hold on. Oh, I'm on the PowerPoint.
Okay. So find it on your
I can do that.
Mm-hmm.
Hold on. Mm. Hold on, y'all. Okay. Mm. I sure didn't want to. I was thinking. Y'all see? Mm.
Okay, so text me the link, and then you can continue on. And then when I have it, I'll put it in the private chat, and I'll be able to pull it up.
Go to YouTube, parenting styles. Five.
YouTube.
Just go to YouTube. Put in five styles of parenting.
Okay.
Hmm. And their effects. All right.
All right. Traden put some more comments in there, so let me
All
go
right.
take care of that.
Okay. I'm sorry for the pause, y'all. Here it's coming up. Technical difficulties. You used to it.
Name
All
the
right.
video
While we
again.
doing that,
Name the video again one more time. 5 styles of
parenting
parenting.
styles. Parenting styles.
Okay, gotcha.
Hmm. I just called my mother. I'm reading the chat. Y'all reading from the chat. I just called my mother. This is Trey. I just called my mother and asked her why didn't have more choices as a child. Her exact words: "You didn't know what you were doing. You were a child." And I agree. You didn't know what you was doing, so she needed to what? Guide you. She guided you, and I think we need to be clear on if you would have asked her specific, then you said, "Well, I didn't have no choices." Listen, problem is we think parenting is being in jail is 150 flavors and it hasn't helped at all. Not 150 now, Trey. But I know they do need some choices. They do. I agree in the school system. I see they need some choices. They need some choices. And I'm gonna give you an example while he's pulling this video up. Um if you're in a classroom, here's a scenario. You're in a classroom and your teacher gives you an assignment. Let's say you're in a science classroom. They give you a project to do. They give you 5 choices. 1, you can write a paper. 2, you can get with a friend. 3, you can use manipulatives or do a whole presentation. You see, I'm saying you give them choices because everybody has a different learning style. I have 3 children, but what we do, and you've heard me say this on another podcast, on one of the other parenting podcasts, is that we, instead of giving them choice, I got 3, and I'm going to make them all do the same thing. They're not the same kid. Give them choice according to who they are. Yes, they need choices, but they need boundaries. There is the difference. Don't give them choices without boundaries. That's the 150 flavors. They need boundaries. It's up to you, to me, to us, to them. Be responsible. Know your kids. Know what they need. God knows me. God knows what I need. He knows what I don't need. But guess what? Your girl still got a choice. I can choose what I don't like. I can choose what ain't good for me. Have done it. And then get to choose the consequence. So that's what the plug means about choice. Children do need choice, because if not, then you're going to have a robot. So skip the choices and give the kid the assignment based on let me see what you said. So skip the choice and give the kid assignments based on their learning style. That's choice. Not skip the assignment. Give them an assignment. Let them choose, because now I feel good about me. I know I'm a good writer, so I'm going to choose to write. I'm going to write the project. Somebody over here, most of my boys, I'm not trying to write it. And I say most, not all. Give me something to manipulate with my hands, and I can show you better than I can tell you. But we all gonna get a grade. We all talking about earth science. She's giving us a choice to choose that helps me as a kid, as a young person, feel good about the skill set, the talents that I have, because I had a choice. Yeah, that's a choice, Trey. Here's Katrina said, I agree 100%. Kids need choices, and someone said it helps them with decision making skills, and it does. And they get as they get old. Yes, it does. It helps. It is guaranteed. And so I hope he can get this. Because if he doesn't, I'll get this video up, because this video shows that if you're a dictator parent, kind of parent, your child grows up not learning, not have learning how to make his and her own decision. You know what it's called? It's um they're indecisive. They can't make sound decisions. Why? Because they never had. Why? Because their parent always told them what to do. At every stage, in every age of their life, they depended upon their parent. Then they get in the world and they can't make decisions. They, I don't know, should I do this? Should I do that? Then they calling people all the time instead of some of those persons that make an informed decision, because they had parents not, and you know I don't have to overstress that. You know exactly the difference between just letting kids do what they want to do and giving them some guardrails like they do at the bowling alley, so that the ball don't go all the way over in the gutter. Give them some rails in the beginning, some training wheels. That's what you do on a bicycle in the beginning. Just in the beginning, it stages to it. You don't want to be a dictator, because that the question is that good for your child? Or is that good for you? Is that good for your pride? Is that good for your ego? Because I'm in control. And you know, if you're parenting and you always have to say, I'm the dad or I'm the mama, you might, who are you convincing that? Who are you trying to convince that you're the dad or the mom? Because clearly the child knows. He says, so you say black kids are illiterate. Well, what is that? Let's go back. Okay, that's it. You saying black kids are illiterate? But why? That's a fact. But why? That's what I want. Let's talk about it. Why? Why are they illiterate? Whose fault is it? Who's responsible for the illiteracy of your child? Who? Is it the teacher? Is it the school? Is it the church? Is it on the dudes on the block? Who is it? Who's responsible for my illiteracy? At the house. Read at the house. Because then when they go to school, we're partnering with the school. The school is partnering with whatever you're putting in. That's the idea. But I can attest, like many educators, that's not the reality. We're not partnering, we're actually parenting. And that's very hard as an educator, because you got 28 to 30 kids in one room, where there's a parent that got one kid or two kids or three or four or five at the most, but you don't have 28 of them bad boys in your house with all the different personalities coming from all the different backgrounds. One parent is a dictator, one parent is permissive, and one parent, but I got all of them in my classroom. But the parent is coming to cuss out the teacher because the child is doing XYZ. Oh, we can go on and on and on. It starts at the house. So we need to embrace the responsibility. Well, it is the parents. And you said we have educators telling parents, yes, educate. Yes, we do. Give them some choice. Give them the right choice, not any kind of choice. Because this is what, and I can move on until he does that. I'm going to show you something. Oh, so this past, how did we get here? What is that? Tell me more, Euro. How do we get here? What does that mean? How do we get here on this subject? How did we get here? Talk to me. Tell me more in the chat so I can respond. How did we get here about choices? We got here because we talk about embracing the responsibility of parents. That's how we got on this subject of choices. The title itself, parenting with a purpose, embracing responsibility. And I talked about, you know, um, choices, giving kids choice, however, boundaries. And as a parent, you're responsible. I'm ready. Thank you, boss man. Click on the video, y'all.
Parenting. Authoritarian parents are controlling and demand obedience without considering the child's point of view. Permissive parents are loving but don't exert any control. There are no rules. Authoritative
Yes.
parents are firm but loving. They encourage independence within limits. Neglecting parents are uninvolved and often uninterested in their own child. Recently, a fifth style was proposed, but we will come back to that later. The styles range from controlling and demanding to complete freedom, and from cold and unresponsive to loving and receptive. Each authoritative, permissive, authoritarian, and neglectful
Oh, they
parents
can't hear
have
it.
their
Thank you for
place.
Daisy telling me you
To
can't hear it.
understand what it means
Y'all
to
turn it
grow
up.
up with parents from each end of the spectrum, we can imagine the lives of four children. Sarah's parents are authoritarian. They love their girl, but they believe that strict rules are important to make Sarah become well behaved and fit into society. If Sarah cries, she's told to stop. If she talks back, she is sent to the corner for time out. If she forgets to take care of her chores around the house, she is not allowed to play with her toys. Sarah learns that suppressing her emotions and following her duties is the way to get through the day. To get the love of her parents and to avoid making them upset, she becomes obedient. However, because Sarah was never allowed to decide for herself or follow her intrinsic interests, as an adult, she doesn't know what she really wants. She begins living a life that seems perfect to her parents and society, but might leave her unhappy on the inside. Permissive parents, like those of Peter, enjoy their little boy so much that they believe they should fulfill all his wishes, give him full freedom, and never say no. Peter enjoys full control over his parents and gets whatever he wants. If he doesn't want to walk, he'll be carried. If he wants ice cream he gets. If he wants to play games, he'll be playing them all night. Peter grows up completely without borders and does whatever he thinks is right. He never coped with conflict, and he did not learn to control his emotions. The fact that he always got what he wanted made him a bad loser. As he grows older, he often acts inconsiderate and doesn't know his limits. Arthur's authoritative parents respect their child's needs, but believe that kids need freedom within certain limits. Arthur can freely play, but when he's done, he needs to help tidy up. He is allowed to eat ice cream, but only on Sundays. Screen time is limited to 30 minutes a day. There may be conflict, but the parents listen to what Arthur has to say and then lay down the rules. Arthur learns that some things are difficult, but his parents give him all the support he needs to get through it. He develops the strength to endure hardships and to continue following his interests and passions. In class, he bravely expresses his own opinions in an appropriate manner. During breaks, he can show his emotions and act freely. As an adult, he agrees to rules only after they have been discussed and he feels like he understands them. Neglectful parents are usually not present in their children's life. Nora often feels completely alone in the world. She experiences full freedom to do anything she wants to and has plenty of imagination, but she never receives any feedback or even attention. Nora realizes that it doesn't matter what she does because no one cares anyway. The lack of attention leads to a lack of trust in herself and others. She becomes insecurely attached, unable to form healthy relationships, and develops a negative image of herself. To stop feeling unworthy of love, she tries not to feel anything at all. In recent years, over-involved parents who are present in every aspect of their child's life are often referred to as the fifth style. These parents are also known as snowplows, removing obstacles out of their kids' path, or helicopter parents who hover about and micromanage every aspect of their child's life. Since they won't let their children do anything alone, the children can't learn to overcome challenges by themselves. Research infers that these children don't like to solve difficult problems, lack perseverance, and may even procrastinate in protest when something requires a lot of effort. Since most research on parenting is based on self-reports and was done in the US and Europe, it is not clear how strongly the observed effects will hold up in controlled observational experiments or in other parts of the world. The four parenting styles were first introduced by psychologist Diana Baumrind. For good parenting, she advised balance of demandingness and responsiveness. Add to that the wise words of Maria Montessori to never help a child with a task at which he feels he can succeed, and parents should do pretty well. What do you think? Should parents resort to a specific style, or should they decide what's best to do in a given situation, as long as they don't neglect or abuse their child? To download this video without background music and learn more about the topic, visit sproutschools.com. For a free masterclass on attachment parenting, see the link in the description below.
Well, there you go. Now you get to see. Thank you. You get to see. Now, what you think? You see, I was looking for myself in the end, like what kind of adult did I become? And this is not to throw shade, judgment, or criticism on our parents. Parents do the best they can. Here on the plug, we're encouraging parents. You may see or find that you are exhibiting some of these characteristics. That's okay. It's not the end all. It's just that when we learn better, we ought to practice doing it differently. When we learn better, we ought to practice doing what we learn differently than before. And I know we have a lot of permissive parents. Let the kid do what they want to do. And if we think about what are we doing for the children now, we should be preparing them for the future. Because if you're permissive today, they have no routines. They don't have boundaries. They, like you said, Trey, earlier, the 150 flavors, that's what that looks like. They don't have a curfew as far as they can stay on the game all night. Then those children grow up thinking because they've been trained. Now they've learned they don't have to do, that's what they think. They gonna cross every boundary and nobody can say anything different. And I'm sure, Trey, you meet a lot of adults that come from backgrounds, you see, where children were allowed to do what they wanted to do. Then they grow up, but in them teens, parents are afraid of them. But no parents willing to say, I created that monster. If you create the monster, you ought to have the power to kill it. And I'm not talking killing physically. I wouldn't do that here on the plug, but there is a way. If you look in the mirror and say, oh, ouch, that's me. I need to, because you got the power and the authority to make adjustments, especially if they under the age, I say, of 17. But at the same time, I've seen this. I'm sure, Trey, you in law enforcement, I'm sure many of you have seen this. You can't start parenting when they 12. Parenting starts from the womb. But many times we see, I've sat in many conferences with children running the show. And then we wonder when they get to be adults why we're having such a hard time with one another. Oh, yes, it comes from the trauma Miss Alicia talked about. It comes from all of that. And then we have to decide after we learn who we are, then we can become a better parent or help our children become better parents or somebody else. We can break the cycle. Then we won't have illiteracy at the rate that we have it. Of course we have illiteracy. How you going to know to read if you don't ever read? How you going to know words past sight words if nobody ever talks to you? Reading, writing, and talking, communicate, they go together. And a lot of children are not talked to, they're talked at. There's no conversation. They in the house. They're present at the different places, but nobody's talking to them. They're talking at them, especially now. Somebody said nobody's trauma-free, never be. No, never will be. Never will be. There's a whole lot of things that we never will be, but the things that we can be, let us try to be that by the power of God. Let us move on. Let me bring this up. All right, this just was talking about this slide was just talking about what the video was talking about, but I do want to bring this one up and say these are some of the permissive parents say things like, let's be friends. They have few rules, low expectations. They're very accepting. They're very lenient. They're indulgent. They avoid confrontation. Permissive parents. Authoritative. Let's talk about it. They have high expectations. They're flexible. Their standards are clear. They're not wishy-washy. They don't say, well, you're not going to be able to do this and then turn around because I need to do something. I'm going to let them do it. No, that's not authoritative. See, that's based up on a parent not taking the responsibility of sacrificing. Because if you said it, you should be able to carry it through. That's why parents ought to think before they speak. Think about it. Don't discipline in anger. Think about the discipline you're going to administer before you do it so that you don't say something that you can't carry out or you haven't thought about it because something else come up and then you change your mind. Because what you do is teach children that what you said don't mean nothing. You're going to change your mind. And they know it. So we need to have clear standards. The uninvolved parent says you're on your own. They're absent, neglectful. They spend little time. They're uninterested in what's going on with their kids. See, we have a lot of children in school and they go to their school counselors. They are depressed. They're hopeless because they have uninvolved parents, a lot of them. It's like, do you see me? So then they participate in things still trying to be seen. Those things are negative, but a lot of the negative things that they do, they're just trying to get attention by any means necessary. What kind of parent are you? It's time for we just take the responsibility back. Take your authority back. Are you authoritarian? This one is punishment because I said so. A lot of us were brought up with this one. High expectations, emotional distance. The rules are clear. There are different kinds of parenting styles. We have a responsibility. Parent with a purpose, because your children were created for purpose. It's your responsibility to nurture the purpose, support the purpose. Here goes some true stories for confidentialities and to cover their innocence. These are true stories. That's a gangster party. Those children are the oldest one is 9. You see money. If you saw the whole thing, you would see white be the zone. You would see the gangster look. True story. What we doing? This is what I'm talking about. Boundaries. Remember I said in the beginning, guide and direct. God guides and direct us. As a parent, you guide and direct them. Because I don't know a gangster. I don't know not one. And I know some. So you tell me, I don't know not one. And then you think about the songs, the rap songs. I haven't heard one that talks about verbatim, I want my son to be like me, better than me. If I committed a crime, I want them to do it to the 9. I ain't never heard it. Because what I have seen, the gangsters, when they come out of whatever they come out of, here's the reality, the harsh reality. When I say boundaries and choices and parents taking back responsibility, see, some of the gangsters and some of those real stories are their circumstance and environment influenced the whole gangster vibe, the whole rapper, all the things that went on. Some of what we're seeing today, homes got running water, homes. Some of the children that I'm seeing today with gangster parties, they got food, they got clothes, their parents driving nice rides. This ain't they a product of their circumstance. This is influenced by the world they live in and parents being permissive to allow it. What are we saying? My question to every parent on here today, what are your greatest hopes for your children? Ask that to your neighbors, to your family, to your friends. What are your greatest hopes? Ask parents, what's your greatest hopes? Because if your greatest hope is for your child to be a gangster, then everybody else got to say, all right, if you like it, we love it. But I ain't never heard that. I ain't never heard nobody sit down and say, you know what? I ain't never heard it on the interview. This is what I want my child to be, my son to be. Who does that? Especially if they sat down and counted up the costs. You mean you want your child to go through all the things you went through in that world and then some? Because you do know whatever the consequences were for you, they're going to be based on the times, maybe worse. And God forbid, they may not be graced to come through the system. It's a sad reality. I told you on the plug, we're going to be hot. We about to run out of time, but I wanted us to get to this. This is what I mean by choices. This is what I mean by parenting with a purpose, embraced in your responsibility. This is real, true story. That one in that yellow, good old, probably good 4. It was another gangster party. What we doing? We laughing. But I come to tell you today, the thing that we laugh about will make us cry. Embracing responsibility. We responsible. True story. This is a backdrop you can purchase. This is backdrop at one of the little gangster parties for the kids. Ain't nothing but a gangster party. For children, what happened to the parties for children? Characters. They still got characters. They still got Minecraft. You can go to Party City. They got kid stuff. It's up to the parents. Yes, the kids see all the things, but you ain't got to go for that. Train them up. Well, here go the truth. The word of God is true. Train up a child in the way he should go. Even when he's old, he will not depart from it. It being the training. Yeah, we get to be a certain age, we make choices. And we all have made wrong choices. That ain't the point. The point is, if there's a foundation laid, you can bet your bottom dollar, even when you make some wrong choices, that foundation that was laid in your life, you won't depart from it. I am a witness. I ain't got to Google it. AI ain't got to write it up for me. I live it. I know. Made some wrong turns, some detours, some highs and ever, because my parent took the responsibility to guide. Did she get it all right? Absolutely not. None of us will. But do the right thing and ask yourself, what's your goal? What's your greatest hopes for your children? Because the church can't hope for them, and the school can't have the hope. You, as the parent, you need to have hope. All of the supports are supporting you. So the question is, what do you want for your child? Well, y'all, here go the resources. That's sproutschool.com that video came from. And the foundation of it all is the Bible. Now, that's the book that'll help us all. In Luke 2, 47, 48, we running out of time. Read it, because it's about Jesus when he turned 12. He was in a synagogue called a church today, reading. He wasn't illiterate. Example, he was reading, and everybody in the church was thrown off by, how can a 12-year-old read like this with authority? Read it for yourself. I'm just crazy enough to believe that's the example that we should be training our children to read scripture. Read. And not just scripture, but read. We should be a part. But I know some children, and they still some today, reading that'll blow your mind, have an intellectual ability that will blow your mind, wisdom, because they got a foundation. It's some parents out there that have willingly and enthusiastically taken on the responsibility of parenting, and they will reap a reward. This is not to judge or to criticize, but this is for us to realize that we got to do it different if we expect different results. No pain, no gain. I thank and I appreciate each and every one of y'all. Listen, support the plug. We out here doing big and great things, being the voice. So I am a part of this Motivational Mondays. It starts tomorrow. Here is the Zoom information is on this screen if you need it. It's every Monday. That's at the North Park CME Church. Different ones of us are speaking. I'm doing it on March 31st, talking about women who are empowered to forgive. And I'll put it on my social media platforms. Again, support the plug, connect. Yes. And then on April 27th, I'll be connecting with these sisters with Why Not Her, Empower, Inspire, and Transform. If you can go ahead and use that QR code to connect, support the plug. Well, I hope to see you around town. If not, let me see you by actually emailing me at the pluglady2020@gmail.com. That again is the pluglady2020@gmail.com. If you got a prayer request, if you got something hot on your mind you want us to talk about, if you want to come on the show, come on and give me an email. Send me your bio, what you desire to talk about. Send it to the pluglady2020@gmail.com. I appreciate each and every one of you. Again, thank you for your support. Thank you for those who were in the chat. I do have one last so that you will see that. Well, thank you again. Yes, thank you. Bossman, I just saw your hello, Sonia.